Hi guys, Happy New Year. It's January 1st, 2017, and I am sorry that I haven't been posting recently for the past 2 weeks. I really meant to keep up with that no matter what, but just so you know, I did lose my grandpa. He died recently to a stroke, and so I've been spending some time with my family. We kind of wanted to celebrate his life. And I'm back on track now, and I'm so grateful that you guys have been patient and that you're still here, and my goodness, the numbers have grown. I want to talk about my new schedule. I am going to be posting up videos on Mondays and Fridays from now on. Every other Monday, I want to do one of the questions from my list, and then the following Friday of that same week will be the podcast where I get to share all the things that didn't make it into that video. And then the other Monday will be a podcast where I hope I can start interviewing people. There was someone who expressed an interest in it. In doing this in one of my emails, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you, but I will very shortly, and I want to work out how to do that properly so we can both be heard and, be able to enjoy a fun experience of being able to talk about things. And so then the Friday after that will be just like this, a regular follow-up Friday where I get to share updates and viewer messages, and then I want to continue on with details about the sun simulator and what I think is going on. And I actually have some good stuff for you today. I happened to stumble across something. Also, I am hard at work on one of those questions now that I talked about for my list, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be coming up next Monday. Okay, so I wanted to share with you some viewer photos that got sent to me. This is from the Idol, and he took these over the summer in Ferndale in Wales, UK. I'm sorry. He's got a bunch of red petals, and these are quite gorgeous. I have actually been able to see these with my own eyes while I'll be driving down the road, and it'll look just like this, where if you kind of look directly at the sun, which I don't recommend, of course, but if you look directly at it and then you look away or you blink, you know how you can look at one of the images of a white background with a black dot in the center of it, and then you close your eyes, you kind of see like the negative of that? That's what I see. Is sometimes I'll look up, not all the time, but certain days I'll look up and I'll close my eyes and I can get that like reverse negative, and I'll see it kind of looks like 9 dots like this, like the rose petal. So that was a beautiful catch there, and I thank you so much for sharing that. And after all the email confusion, that was pretty funny. This one is from Fulcrum, and they said, "Hi, I'm from upstate New York and take pictures of the sun when it's not covered with contrails. And there is this anomaly under the sun every time. Let me know what you think. Also, thank you for your work." Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you sending this submission. The anomaly, I'm guessing, is this thing that you're talking about, which probably is the lensing system. I'm not sure really if that would be a planet, or that looks to me kind of like one of the lensing systems. That is a gorgeous picture, though, and I wish I could play with the colors right now. You know what? I might just do it in the editing. And if I do, I'll just place some words underneath of what I think that is. But if you guys have any comments or what you think this is, I have a lot of people telling me that, this is just a regular lens flare, not to be concerned with those kinds of things. But like what he's talking about, this is very different. This is interesting. And I've been seeing a lot of time lapses on other viewer channels like Jeff P, who share where it's over a length of time, like throughout a whole day, and you get glimpses of strange anomalies like that, and I don't know exactly what that is. That's some interesting color around the sun too. I use that word interesting a lot. I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for sharing those. I do appreciate it. And also wanted to mention in an email, Gaspar, he asked me to add the flat earth theory to the list, and so I have. Thank you for your suggestion. Alright, so I'm going to talk about some chemtrails today. So I started out with this. It's from InfoWars. They're the Truth Channel News. They have so many different channels. I don't know who's who anymore. But this is supposedly from a UN conference, and this is Dr. Rosalind Peterson, and she's from the California president of the Defense Coalition to Protect Crops from Weather Modification, and then she's getting into defending against water pollution as well. And she started studying these the chemtrails and really got up in arms about it because, well, you see here what they're saying is it's proof of this, but there's more to it. She was talking about how these chemicals that are in the chemtrails are showing up in your drinking water, that there's molds and mildews growing and killing the plants, and that there's a bunch of heavy metals and they're causing cancer. These heavy metals are things like barium, strontium, titanium, aluminum, magnesium sulfide, mercury. There's a whole bunch of different nice little toxic brew there. And so she's kind of going into it from the aspect of you can look up, you can see it for yourself. They become these strange cloud formations that we've never seen before after they've dissipated after being up there for 4 hours. And she's saying that these things get rained back down to the earth and becomes part of our water system, and that we're drinking it and it's in our crops and it's killing our plants and it's just really not helping out with, it's killing off the bees. So, you've got GMOs on the ground, and then you have this, which she said it was interesting that it could be shot up into the air from the ground or from planes. I didn't realize you were doing both of those things. So she's a really good one to watch. I will link it down below. This guy, well, okay, so I got into the second one. He just kept like dropping things, and my jaw just almost came unhinged. It kept dropping lower and lower because I'm just like, whoa, what? But so yeah, he had some interesting things. I may talk about it another time, but for now, I'm gonna let you discover that if you want to. But this one is the one I'm really interested in. He was talking about chemtrails, and he did an analysis, and he's from Germany, and oh, I forgot to write down his name. I'm so sorry, but they say it right away. I think it was like, started with an H. Sorry. But he talks about this thing called smart dust, and this is what it's partially made out of. It's the piezo crystals, and they're nanocrystals, and they have like a slight magnetism to them. And because of that, it draws these three chemicals back here, barium, strontium, and titanium, to them. And I kept thinking, why are there so many heavy metals in the fish? And they're always warning us about it. And like when they beach themselves on the, like big whales will beach themselves on our beaches, on our shorelines, the scientists will go out and marine biologists cut, sections of their, bodies and take them back to the lab, and they will test them for toxicity and for a large number of things. These are the sorts of metals they were finding in the fish. Well, no wonder it's in our atmosphere and it's raining down as particulates all the time. And so he says that, well, he had this interesting theory that these particular things are working against our nervous system. And he explained it this way. He said that there are certain things that strip away the copper in our body. And when that happens, and these things get put into our body, whether we ingest them or we, breathe them in, they attack our nervous system. They start to dissolve the nerves, and when the nerves reform, they will form around these crystals, and when it doesn't have copper anymore, it will just take the nearest heavy metal in our body, which is attached to this. So you're going to get the barium, strontium, titanium. And he goes down the rabbit hole with this, and he talks about how this will affect, how they control our emotions. If you're interested, I will definitely link this down below. But he also talks about how this very thing can be used to defend against things like, let me show you. So back in November 7th of 2015, Julian Solomita, he's a vlogger here on YouTube. You probably heard of him. He's dating Jenna Marbles. They were out on their garage one night, not their garage, but a parking garage roof, and they were filming a time lapse. And when they got there, they saw this weird thing, and they just happened to catch it on camera, and they got it on the news. And the news came back and said, "Oh, that's a missile. That was missile testing." And I hope that they don't mind that I played this because I did not ask for permission, but I wanted to kind of give you like a quick of what happened. So it formed this strange thing, like it exploded. And do you see this pattern here? I'm going to explain this. So when those nanocrystals are being put up in the atmosphere, they're put there sort of as a defense system. They're for military uses. And what happens is when they get wind that there is a missile in the air coming in, they can go check out the trajectory of where it's going to land, and because they have these particulates in the air, they can let me play that back again so you can see like when it explodes. They can superheat, or what they'll do is they'll contact these little particles via computer or wirelessly, and they will they can make them really dense in a specific area, and then you can superheat them with the HARP technologies, with the plasma, and they will cause the missile to literally just melt in the air, and that's their defense system. So I looked up what smart dust is, because he talks about this. He calls it smart dust. It's also explosive. So there's a very scary thing to that, and I'll get to that in a second. But Wikipedia says, smart dust is a system of many tiny micro-electromechanical systems, such as sensors, robots, or other devices that can detect, for example, light, temperature, vibration, magnetism, or chemicals. And they can be operated on a computer network wirelessly. And then they can make them really dense, or they can like spread them out over an area. And here's the scary part, guys. If you have somewhere that you can't infiltrate, like say there's a underground lab of some kind that you want to get into and kill the people there, what do? Well, you take a bunch of dust and you send it down there, and if it's explosive, have the right, magnetism materials attached to it, to the crystals, then they can kill everyone down there. And they just wirelessly send it. And so it says that they're distributed over some areas to perform tasks, usually sensing through radio frequency identification. So they can identify, with, with the receptors, what they are. They have, let's see, without an antenna of much greater size, the range of tiny smart dust communication devices is measured in a few millimeters, and they may be vulnerable to electromagnetic disablement and destruction by microwave exposure, thus the melting of a missile. So, let's see, what was I gonna say? Oh, that's what it was. So, back to the lensing, right? This could very well be the smart dust via a computer. That's why it can stay so accurately with the sun. Like, what if this is part of it? This is a mirroring thing. Oh, I didn't explain this properly. So, the big deal is with this crystal here is more reflective than diamonds, and it's highly, highly transparent. So I all of a sudden just connected the dots and thought, oh my god, there's our sun simulator. Because they're computer controlled, they can stay accurately up in the sky. They can cause them to, become really dense in a certain area. They all cluster up, and it can create whatever design they want. So they cover up the whole sun. They're blocking the UV rays that are coming through. So I'll tell you in a second what that affects, why the plants are dying off. So what they can do is, if it becomes highly dense, it becomes like a mirror in the sky. So now you have this highly reflective crystal in the sky, and you can create like a little mirror system to mirror back to it, and whatever transparency that it has, that can come through too, but they can use it like a focused lens. What a beautiful weapon, and highly terrible. So, yeah, I was thinking about all these other little lenses around what they're trying to block, or maybe they're mirror systems to mirror things back to other places, or maybe they're taking the mirrors from this and mirroring it down to other specific places on the Earth, like Antarctica. So what happens is when the UV rays are blocked, the plants have a need for it because it will tell the cells to divide. So if they don't have UV, then the cells don't divide, the plant stops growing, and now it all begins to die, and it looks like radiation poisoning, but it's actually dying off because it can't provide itself with the right, I guess, knowledge that it needs to divide. So there you have it. That's really scary. And what's scarier is if they have these smart controlled things, they can take it and they can have it go inside a person and kill the person. They can do pretty much whatever they want. And if it's part of your nervous system, they can, like he was saying, they can direct certain signals through a frequency toward your body and make you feel certain things like anger or, Great Depression, or, whatever it is they want you to feel. So it's next level. But yeah, I highly recommend watching this. Like I said, this one goes down the rabbit hole. I don't know what I think about it yet. I still have to process. But I will say this. For some reason, it resonates a little bit more with me than what David Icke says. So, I don't know. But I just thought I'd put that out there. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I wish you guys Happy New Year, and I look forward to being able to get to know some of you guys better, if not all of you eventually. That'd be freaking awesome. All right. Thanks. Bye.